What's next for Braun Breakker? In recent weeks, the WWE has been pushing the absolute heck out of Braun Breakker, and I am a fan of it. He's been going wild. Had a squash match, which then he ended the match on a no contest, we'll call that, and then proceeded to end the man's career after the match after fuming, being absolutely pissed that he was left out of the King of the Ring tournament. We all felt the same way. We saw he felt the same way, and he took matters in his own hands. He was tired of these BS squash matches. We know who Braun Breakker is. He's been in this company for years. It's time for him to get a real opportunity. As crazy as that was, and for what he did to that man, it was sort of justified. Braun Breakker is better than that. He deserves more, and that's why we're here to discuss what's next for Braun Breakker and the WWE. I want to run through some opportunities for Braun Breakker and how I feel about them, with the first one being to put him in a tag team. I think that is a bad idea. He was already in a tag team in NXT, literally most recently, and that was actually great. I thought him and Baron Corbin were awesome. The chemistry was cool. The idea was cool, but I think that's over with. I think Braun Breakker, you don't give him all these squash matches. You don't make him look this gosh darn powerful just to throw him in a tag team. A guy like this can shine on his own. I know some people don't believe in his mic skills, which is fair to say, but a guy like that can prove it, and he honestly makes up for it with his ability. So putting him in a tag team right now after all of these squash matches is not a good idea. If you guys feel differently, by the way, let me know in the comments down below about that opinion and any other opinion I make during this video. So clearly, I think he deserves a singles run, and because of how hot he is, and because of this push he's getting, and because of the way they're making him look, I think a run for the Intercontinental title makes all the sense in the world, and we'll get to why in a second. Don't worry, I will talk about the World Heavyweight Championship. The IC title is not what it used to be. It's no longer this like random title that doesn't mean anything, that's on the early part of the show, that doesn't matter. Gunther clearly, obviously, has, like he said, made that title very prestigious, and if you hold that title, it does mean something. Gunther had it for over 2 years. Sami Zayn has it, and he's obviously one of the best right now, so the IC title does mean something in the WWE today, which is awesome, by the way, and I think that's a perfect opportunity for Braun Breakker to showcase and break through to the main WWE audience and really have a run. And honestly, I think he might be the one to dethrone Sami Zayn or whoever is the IC title holder in the coming months. And I'm not saying that he's not ready for a world title run. I think he is, but I don't think that that opportunity is right for him at the moment. We had a discussion video recently, you guys should check it out, and it was titled "The WWE Has a Major Problem." And the whole point of the video was that the WWE has so many great superstars right now that there are so many people that should be world champion but aren't, and that list is, you know, Gunther, Drew, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, LA Knight. There's a lot of people who should be the top champ. There's just too many of them. If this was a different time, if this was a different era, Braun Breakker might already be a world heavyweight champion, but in today's WWE, and more specifically at this moment, I don't think there's a spot for him. I don't think he wins a world title before Gunther does. Gunther had to work his butt off for years to get to where he is, and he puts on classic banger matches, has great mic skills, and he hasn't even held the world title yet, so Braun Breakker needs a little time, but he'll obviously get there, and a world title run with Braun Breakker is gonna be awesome. And he might get that title shot with the Money in the Bank. We have the Money in the Bank pay-per-view coming up in just a few months here, and I'm very excited for it. As far as the men go, there are so many options for the Money in the Bank winner that are great options. We have Finn Balor, he would be great. LA Knight would be great. Braun Breakker would be great, in my opinion, to win the Money in the Bank. Is it a little early? Yes, but do I think he's ready? If the opportunity is right, if the timing is right, for sure. I can definitely see him winning Money in the Bank this year, or at the very least be in the match, have that opportunity. I think that would be great. I think it could make a lot of sense, again, if the story's right, if the timing's right, and if he continues to get this push and get hotter and hotter in the WWE, that could be fun. But if the Money in the Bank isn't right for him, how about the Royal Rumble, in which I say yes as well. Again, a lot of things need to make sense, and the story needs to make sense, and his build-up needs to work and make sense. So yes, him winning the Rumble would be awesome, but I'm thinking about it now. I'm not sure if he's earned that opportunity yet to main event WrestleMania for the championship match. There's a lot of guys that have really earned that opportunity. There's a lot of big names in that bag. You got Roman Reigns, The Rock, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. Again, those are 4 top dogs. I don't know if Braun Breakker has earned that spot just yet, which is why I think the Money in the Bank makes more sense for him than the Royal Rumble does. Just my opinion. So now that we've talked opportunities, I want to talk about feuds for Braun Breakker that I think could be great for him in these coming months leading up to Money Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, WrestleMania. He's a Raw superstar, and there aren't a ton of options for feuds on Raw, but the options that he has are super cool. The first one I want to talk about is Chad Gable. I think that would be a great feud. You got the powerhouse that is Braun Breakker and the powerhouse in a different way that is Chad Gable. I think they could have some great matches. Chad Gable is becoming a heel right before our very own eyes, and he's having a great run with that, and I think that's going to continue to be good. And Braun Breakker, he's kind of like, he's not a baby face, he's not a heel in my opinion. He's kind of like just a frustrated guy, you know. He's right in the middle. He's a tweener. He's too cool to root against, but he's not doing good things, so you can't root for him. You know what I mean? Kind of like Drew McIntyre. He's so good, he's so cool that you're like, I can't hate you, but you're doing the wrong thing, buddy. Can't root for you. Anyways, I think Braun Breakker and Chad Gable would cook, especially with the Chad Gable Kurt Angle comparisons. I think there's a fun little storyline there. Another feud between, actually, I'll count 2 wrestlers here because this is currently going on: Ricochet and Ilya Dragunov. Now, there was a promo recently where Braun Breakker went crazy and speared the heck out of Ricochet for absolutely no reason at all, destroyed his rib cage, and I think that's going to lead to a match between the two of them very, very soon here. That's going to be a banger match. I can't wait. It's unfortunate because I do think Ricochet would lose that match, and it's kind of, you know, whatever. Ricochet's going to deliver. He's going to be awesome. He's going to make Braun look great, and I guess that's the point. But him and Ricochet would also cook, and obviously we know this already. Ilya Dragunov and Braun Breakker would cook as well. Ilya can make any match look good, can make any move look good. He is such a great seller, such a great wrestler, architect in the ring. Him and Ilya, Braun and Ilya, sign me up. I'm down again. And while we're in this group of wrestlers, I want to loop back to the IC title conversation. Him feuding with Sami Zayn. For some reason, I can just see that happening already, and I could see it working, and I could see it being awesome. Sami Zayn and him going at it, the promos, the back and forths would be great. They're both workhorses, and him and Sami could have a banger feud, which could eventually lead to him winning the IC title. I think that's a nice passing of the torch in my opinion. You also got Bronson Reed in the mix there. That's a crazy match because I think Bronson Reed is definitely gaining some steam, but I don't see him beating Braun Breakker. I think Braun Breakker is just going to do one of those, like, he might even do a couple extra rope things and spear the absolute heck out of Bronson Reed, but that could be a meaty match and a fun one. And some other quick feuds that could be great as well is a feud with the New Day, you know, whether it's Kofi or Xavier Woods. I think that'll be a nice little fun feud for a few weeks just to kind of build him and kind of work on his crowd work and his ability in the ring and to create a little bit of history there. And 2 veterans that I think could help put him over right now if they had a feud: Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is such a cool guy for this feud because obviously he's so easy to work with. He's so small, he's so agile and athletic that he can sell his butt off and he can make Braun look awesome. And another guy who can make somebody look awesome is Sheamus. Sheamus could have a banger match with Braun, kind of like Big Brother him in a way, because they're both like some sizable gentlemen, and they could have a banger match for sure. Again, there's a lot of injuries in the WWE right now, and that's just some of the feuds that could be great for Braun Breakker. If you guys have any other ideas or specific ideas, obviously let me know. And I have 2 more ideas I want to throw in real quicker because I think they're fun to talk about. Braun Breakker being a Paul Heyman guy. I think we see that. We have seen that already. They have worked together in NXT, and Paul Heyman is that guy who can be that mouthpiece, pause, for Braun Breakker and help build him to be an absolute force in the WWE. And I think that's definitely an option down the road, but I don't think that's an option anytime soon. Obviously, Paul Heyman is in the middle of this whole Bloodline story. The Bloodline saga is nowhere close to over, so I don't see Paul Heyman going away from that anytime soon unless he is kicked out or unless it is part of the storyline where, you know, Paul Heyman chooses a different side, kind of like how he betrayed Roman Reigns and went back with Brock, and they had a little bit of conflict and all that. But Braun Breakker being a Paul Heyman guy, I think we all want that. We've seen it, and we need it, and we'll get that at some point. Speaking of being a Paul Heyman guy, and speaking of passing the torch, which I alluded to earlier, I think a feud with him, with Brock Lesnar, would be so sick. I know it would be just like a meaty, like, finisher, you know, fiasco, if you will, but it would be cool. And obviously, it's like a passing of the torch moment. It could be a great retirement feud for Brock Lesnar if he wants to hang it up anytime soon. Obviously, the guy can still go. He was delivering before he took a little bit of a hiatus there, but a feud with Brock Lesnar would be great. Imagine a match with them at Mania. Obviously, it won't be like a super long match, but like whether it is a finisher fiasco or whatever, a match with them at Mania would be sick to pass the torch, to end the story for Brock Lesnar would be cool. Just an idea. I think Braun Breakker and Brock Lesnar would be sick. But those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this episode of What's Next, in particular about Braun Breakker Breakker. Now, I do have a bunch of these episode ideas lined up, and if you guys have any more episode ideas, let me know in the comments down below as well. I think this is a fun series to speculate, to fantasy book, and to realistically get an idea of what to expect for certain wrestlers. Braun Breakker is already a beast, but I can't wait to see what's next.